While I was in rabbinical school, the chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary, Dr. Ismar Shorish, told this story in connection with this week's Torah portion. Isidore Rabbi, the great physicist who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1944, he was once asked by a friend, "So why did you become a scientist rather than a doctor or a lawyer like all the other immigrant Jewish kids in your neighborhood?" And Rabbi responded, "My mother made me a scientist without ever intending it. Every other Jewish mother in Brooklyn would ask her child after school, 'So did you learn anything new today?' But not my mother. She always asked me a different question. 'Izzy,' she would say, 'did you ask any good questions today?' That difference, asking good questions," he said, "made me a scientist." And I love that story because it's so true. To come up with the right question is much more difficult than being able to answer somebody else's question. It's also a very Jewish idea. Every page in the Talmud involves rabbis asking the right questions. And in our Torah portion this week, in two places in fact, while talking about the ceremony we performed to remember the Exodus, the Torah states, "And when your children ask you, 'Ma avodah azot lachem,' what do you mean by this service? V'higadet levincha, and you shall explain to your child on that day, it is because of what God did for me when I went free from Egypt." That passage forms the basis of the Passover Seder that we all observe till this day. And in fact, the Magid section of the Haggadah, where we retell the story, it starts off with our children asking those four questions at the Seder that we all know. Later on, the rabbis even understood this as hinting at four different kinds of children. Like the wicked one who doesn't really want an answer. They only want to upset the apple cart. And in that case, you make them know that you're on to them. And you explain why it's important to you. So the power of a good story, that's really what's at work here. And if we tell these stories of our people to the next generation, we ensure that the story of our people will keep on going for generations to come. Amen.